makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagelia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Bobbie Wasserman, CEO and founder of SingleLadyEstates, the first comprehensive homeownership company designed specifically for women. Good morning, Bobbie. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity to chat with you today. I deeply appreciate the work you do in supporting other women, and it's different. Your work is different. That's something that a lot of women should actually think of doing and look into doing. But unfortunately, we don't really spend the time doing that. So I'm grateful to be having this discussion with you.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So now, can you tell us a bit about your background and what inspired you to start SingleLadyEstates?
Sure. Well, my background is I've got 20 plus years of communications experience, and with a mix of operations and budgeting, and it's kind of all wrapped around an MBA in finance. So I understand business and I understand the language of business. And but nothing quite prepared me for SingleLadyEstates. Then my 7 years of litigation and 4 lawsuits wrapped up. It was a very complex real estate litigation, and it just kind of overtook my life. So I always say that SingleLadyEstates found me. So the lawsuits were all settled, and even though they were settled in my favor, the way I was treated. And there was a law that was changed in the process. But even though they were all settled in my favor, the way I was treated, I was lied to and gaslit and just dismissed and underestimated by everyone, by the engineers, by the lawyers, by the contractors. And I gained so much knowledge around it because you have to be on your toes and advocate for yourself.
Yes.
That's like I had to help other people get through this.
So pretty much you had to stand up for yourself as a woman and say, hey, this is not right. And this is where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And I didn't even realize that there was a gender issue until actually one of the engineers that was working on one of my legal teams told me, said, they're not settling because you're a woman and they think you're going to fold. And and that was from a engineer in his 70s. He's kind of seen it all. I didn't even think about it that way until he pointed that out. And once he pointed that out, it made me more determined to get the damages I was seeking. I was owed them, and to really help other people avoid what I've been through, because no one should have to go through all of that for something that was wrong.
Exactly. Not only that, your own lawyers, your teams, they should support you, not going against you,
Yeah. Well, I've learned a lot about the law and all these, and I've learned a lot about, street sizes and, eminent domain issues and structural issues. Sure. So all that wrapped up will, hopefully, the goal is to help other women avoid the road I've been on. And so I created SingleLadyEstates as a way to really help women through the entire home ownership experience and help them navigate the home ownership experience, like buying, selling, and life in between is what we call it. And so that's go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, that's what we're doing.
So pretty much, let's say I'm buying a home, you can help me understand everything within that. And if I'm selling it at the same time, you can also help me do that as well.
Yeah, I like to consider us a safe place to go. We're building education services and tools for women. And one of the things that I discovered, in litigation is that there was really no place to go for authentic help, honest and authentic help. Everyone has their hands in your pockets and everyone has an angle. So by by creating Single Lady Estates and allowing this community to grow and hopefully flourish, we're a safe place. We're a safe place for you to ask questions. We're going to give you honest and authentic help, and we're going to help educate you. In the future, we're hoping to be able to advocate on your behalf, and we're going to connect you with others, and that includes other women. We're so isolated, especially now, but especially women. If you're a single mom, your life is waking up, cooking breakfast for your kids, bringing them to school, going to work, taking them home from school, and then feeding them again, right? It's very isolating. And so you go through a lot of experiences and you're thinking, oh my gosh, am I the only person going through this? And even through this litigation, I realized, it was very lonely and it was very isolating. And I knew I wasn't alone. I knew there were others that this happened to. And as we develop Single Lady Estates, we're just getting going. Every woman that I've talked to, every woman is like, oh my gosh, where can I sign up? And then, but the men that I talk to are also, why do you need that?
Why do you need that?
Why do you need that? And one gentleman I talked to, he said, oh, there's no need for this. I'm like, go talk to your wife. And he actually called me the next morning and he said, I had no idea. I knew that if they owned a house, which they did, that his wife had problems that she wasn't listened to. She was ignored, right? The contractors come over. You're the one that wants, she's the one that wants the, whatever the services, and he's out talking to the husband, right?
Yes, exactly.
So it happens all the time. And what I've found even through Single Lady Estates is I thought, well, if wealthier women won't have the same problem. Not true. There was a woman I talked to with a $20 million home in Santa Barbara, had the same exact contractor problem as the woman with a $700,000 condo in Newport Beach. Same exact issue. The contractor wasn't listening to them. So it's not even money makes a difference, right? You think that there's some threshold, there's not. And what the great thing about this is what I've discovered through additional research is, we really are all in this together. Women's home ownership is up. We're getting, we're entering what they're calling the she economy, where women are getting more educated. They're graduating college with more degrees. They're out working. They're less likely to get married. That's not true. They're more likely to delay marriage. And some of those women just won't get married. And that is becoming acceptable, right? It was a little less acceptable when women weren't really allowed to be financially independent. Now we are, and we make choices in how we live our lives. So the she economy is really something that they say is going to peak around 2030, where women will graduate college, they'll want to get a job, and they just don't want to pay rent. So they'll go and buy something. So in fact, the millennial generation is the first generation that doesn't equate home ownership with family planning. So, which is great, right? It used to be,
Yes.
I'm going to get married. I'm going to go get a house with my spouse. And then we're going to think about kids, right? That was very 1950-esque way to go about life. It's not that way anymore. And now it's really an economic decision of, I just graduated college. I've got this great job. I don't want to waste money on rent. I'm going to go buy something. And the parents are supportive, because that's helping build your, financial stability. And you'll need that financial stability later in life.
That's for sure. But now also, do you also help the young one? Do you also guide them? Let's say a 25 years old reach out to you.
We're having our first suite of educational products and services are coming out later this spring. So they're really guides to help you navigate home ownership in like different systems in your house, buying a house, They also will be able to help refer you to certain types of contractors.
Right.
It's not, it's nothing, the way we've structured it is very different than what's out there currently.
Currently.
So part of me, we are really a new concept and a new idea. I'm not going to be arrogant enough to think we're the only people out there. I just can't find anyone else right now. So, yay.
I haven't actually. I spent a few days researching you. I was like, this is so unique. Who else is doing this?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, one part of the, going more for the business side of it, part of the issue was, okay, so how do you monetize this? Right.
True.
And so we've come up with a way that is just different than today's business models to be able to monetize the education and connectivity, where I want to say stay tuned because I don't want to give it away. So.
I was so I'm like this, like, oh yeah, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, but I'm really excited about it because it really is, it's a win-win for everyone, and especially for women, because it's where current business models, where they stop, right? You go get your contractor on those type of services, you're done. They're done. Those services are done,
Yes.
and that's not us. You can, we have systems that are being put in place where there'll be accountability, and the way we've structured it is that there will be accountability, and it's not even negative accountability. It's if you've got someone coming in and they're making the same mistake, you know, over several clients, then clearly they need to relearn something.
Yes.
So it's also a chance for them to relearn something. So and we've got that accountability in place. So without kind of giving it away. So yeah. So it's a win-win for everyone. They'll be a better professional, which will help their income. They'll have happier customers. Our membership will be happy. It's great.
So pretty much, if I understand correctly, so not only you will be working with the buyer or the seller, but you also work with the contractors, the people that's, if they, for example, someone that's coming to.
Well, unlike unlike the other business models, and now, so we separate our business out into buying, selling, and life in between. So life in between was with the contractors,
Yes.
and where other business models stop, we start, and the other business models out there currently, their clients are the vendors, they're lead
Yes.
generators. As we do some of that, but that is their business model. So they get their money from the vendors, not the homeowners.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We've got services that are, we're catering to the homeowners, and our clients are the homeowners, and
Owners.
that is something that's unique. And I think it's unique because it's hard to monetize for a business, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we've figured out a little bit of that secret sauce, and as we move along, hopefully we'll figure out more. But I'm pretty happy about it because, again, my whole reason for doing this was really to help people avoid what I've been through. So that's that's our mission.
So for right now, let's say that if anyone reach out to you, are you providing your services for free?
We're doing content. We're doing a lot of content distribution. Our services will start in the spring.
Okay.
But right now we are for free. You can listen to our podcast. We have great
Mm.
guests. We have people that actually like do the work. So they're going to tell you, right? It's always nice to have, notable people and authors, but then that's great. But we've got the people, we've got business owners, we've got contractors. They talk about, what you need to ask them, right?
Mm.
How you need to go about hiring a contractor. Especially for financial, we have a big piece on financial stability and investing, and gaining confidence in that area. So that's also part of the services that we're going to eventually offer. So right now you can get it through content, and that's all free.
But it's unique, the fact that you are able to bring the people that can offer that service to you, to help you understand when you meet someone, this is the things that you need to ask them. This is how you need to be prepared for them. And this is how you need to stop them before things get even out of hand. So I think that's, especially for free, I think that's valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. We've gotten really good. We're a small but mighty voice because we've gotten really fantastic feedback.
Well, small that doesn't really matter. What's matter is the impact.
Yeah. And that's, I'm fine with the numbers right now. They don't bother me. I know that I'm delivering, and the company is delivering great content.
Yes.
And so that's really, we're growing. It'll grow.
It will grow. It will grow.
We've got our plans, and we've got buy-in. So I'm pleased. But it's really nice too that along the way, when I get feedback and when my team gets feedback, it's like we listen. We're able to listen to that feedback because a lot of this is so uncharted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, there's nothing to say, okay, we're going to be a lead gen for X and Y. We don't need Z, right? So right now we're listening to everyone and seeing, okay, is this possible? What's the market for this? Usually if one person takes the time to reach out, there's
more.
Way more.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's for sure. And also I think that the concept that you are bringing is different, and not a lot of people are used to it. And I think it's going to take a bit of showing them what it really means, why this is so important, especially as women. Sometimes we get so used to being treated the way we are treating. Even if it's wrong, we allow it. We say, okay, this is not going to change. I'm not going to try to change it. I just live my life the way it is. But in reality, it's not the truth. We should have our voice. Why do we call the guy to come fix the refrigerator, and then the guy is talking to the husband? The husband has don't even know what's wrong with it in the first place. So you should be talking to me. So I think that it's the way it's been here. Even with me, I seen that happen before, where I had the guy that's come to put a blind in the backyard when front, you have that sliding door.
Yeah.
So it was putting the blind. And then it was me. It's my name. But he didn't talk to me. He was talking to my husband. I'm like, my husband's looking at him. You might want to talk to her.
So. I get that a lot. And even, I call the company SingleLadyEstates because I'm starting with what I know, right? And my experience. Yes. We have a lot of married women that have joined us because it's a safe space. Right. And they also very similar. Conversations all the time, like the woman with the $20 million house, right? Her husband was standing next to her and she's like, no, we need dead to XYZ. And contractor immediately looks at the husband, right? And starts talking. And then there's the one woman that we had talked to that she makes all the financial decisions. She's the working partner in that relationship. She's got the husband wanted to stay at home. He was fine with it. She makes the money. They go to the bank and they address the husband. And he's like, I don't know why you're talking to me. She's the one that's making the money. So there's a lot. It's very, it's not that straightforward stereotype anymore. Things are changing. And again, like with this she economy where, more women are seeking higher education, we have the opportunity here to do that. That's not true in some other countries, right? In the developing world, we've got the educational opportunities. We've got, we can delay marriage. We can delay childbirth, to, a time that suits us where we're more financially stable or it works for our life.
Yes.
And it was interesting. There was a company, I think it was Morgan Stanley. They did they're studying with more women in the workforce and earning more money. They're going to buy more stuff. So they focused on, yes, the women are going to be making more money. They're going to be buying more shoes. It's like,
Wow.
okay, that's fine. Buy the shoes, but make sure you own the closet you put them in.
That's
And
for sure.
that's where
Yeah.
the power is. And so there's the other side of the scale. So that's kind of more for women that will be a prime working age, which they cut off at 45.
Bye.
So that's, I think there's a lot of people over 45, me one of them, that would disagree with that. But okay, that's what they did. That's one side of the equation with the younger women and the millennial women, right? On the other side of the equation with the older women, and there's an up and coming huge wealth transfer that's taking place. McKinsey and Company has done a lot of research on this, and they're working with these male dominated or historically male dominated professions like finance, right? How as boomer men are dying off and they're leaving their wealth to their wives
Bye.
and they're leaving their wealth to their children also. And it used to be where they would leave wealth to the boys and not the girls. That's not there's some cultures that still will do that, but for the most part, they don't. They leave an equal amount to everyone, right? To the children. And so that's more women they're getting these lump sums of money, or women that are older that all of a sudden now they own the house. The husband is deceased. So you've got a lot of wealth coming in that way from that side of the equation. Then you've got the other wealth being earned by younger women. So there's a lot of financial shifts that are occurring, and these two kind of economies are kind of 2030 is kind of the year that they're going to really show themselves. So the other thing too is that with financial advisors and because that's more of a male model and women think about money differently, we think about our homes differently. Uh, Single women own double the amount of homes of single men. It's
Wow.
just different. That a lot. I don't want to say that. There are feelings with the majority of women that have been shut out of the financial process because we talk about it differently. Our priorities are different, and yet we've got a lot of this male model, and the advisor model is male, kind of based on men. You just you don't feel heard. You don't feel like this is not what I want to do with my money, right?
You don't feel
So
welcome.
yeah, so a lot of that we're going to be addressing too, because it's home ownership is a great way to build financial stability.
Yes, it is. Because once you own it, it's yours. And especially when you start young. If you start young, let's say 25, you start at 25. By the time you're 50, you own this house. It's yours. So you
That's
don't have
right.
to worry about it anymore. So I think what you have in mind is going to change the way women see a lot of things. Because
I hope so.
the way they see themselves when they're around others, especially when buying a home, but also people that's coming to the homes, the way they're supposed to act, the things they're supposed to ask, and the red flag. Sometimes there's a lot of red flags. What are they? So, like for example, that's what happened to you. Perhaps there was red flags at the beginning. You just didn't realize them until it was too late. So,
Yeah, and we're socialized differently. I know
exactly.
this is changing for the younger generations, but it's always be a good, older women, and I'll say older women maybe over 40. I'm one of those. Um, be a good girl. Don't speak up. Be nice. All that is. There's a study out of UC Riverside that was done in the late 90s about that that is ingrained into women from the day they're born and from
Wow.
girls. And it's shifting slowly. But that's why a lot of women will ignore the red flags, right? Oh, it's
It's
they'll be
okay.
fine, that kind of thing. And that's shifting. But it impacts our confidence and doubting ourselves. And so again, with Single Lady Estates, we're here to check that right? You're not crazy. You're correct. Keep going. Yes, I understand X, Y, and Z. Here's a great place to start some research. So that's, yeah. And we held a panel discussion with women from 32 to 90.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was great. In October, it was for the anniversary of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act in 1974. Before 1974, women had to get men to co-sponsor their credit cards.
Yes.
And they were able to get bank accounts in their own name, and all those financial advances in the late 60s, early 70s. So we're really only a generation and a half away from women even being able to buy homes. So the older women, younger women are like, you gotta be kidding me, right? They never even realized. And it's like, talk to your moms or your grandmothers or your aunts, right? And you won't believe how much of the doors that they
They
open.
open. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say you are right about that because I'm taking my PhD, so I was doing research for it, and then the subject I picked is about women because since I'm passionate about supporting women, and when I was reading that, not too long ago we can have a credit card, we couldn't even go get a college degree, and I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. So the 30-year-olds are like that, right? What? And go talk to a 60-year-old and they're like, "Oh yeah, my mom was a stay-at-home mom and she had to squirrel her allowance away." And you're just like, "I don't want to live like that." So and you'll
No.
talk to the women that are like in their 60s and 70s, and those are the women that told their daughters, make sure you can support yourself. Right. And now those mothers told their daughters, I would be that generation and my generation are telling their daughters, you go to college, you get a degree, you go buy a house, then go get married.
Yes. Earn
Because
it.
that house
It's
is yours.
yours.
And you'll need that money. And you might need that money. You get married and have a family, and that money might be a godsend in an emergency, or you might just need it for your own retirement. But you'll
Never
need
know.
it.
Yes. Yes. But I know that you mentioned about spring. Do you have a date for spring when everything will be launching?
I want to say I want to keep it spring. I do have. Hopefully, it'll be the end of April, but let's just say spring.
Spring, just to be safe.
You never know.
So, now as a woman in the industry, have you faced or overcome any challenges working in a male-dominated field?
Oh God, yeah. Oh God, and it's so interesting too because things that first of all, things that I've experienced, in the workplace, holds nothing. It's very light and minimal compared to others. I realize that. Um, but I was lucky in the fact that the things that I experienced, it was always from older men when I was one of the younger workers, right? Out of college and, bright eyed and optimistic and naive,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was very lucky that I worked for a really good company, and that people, I'll say there was never any really threat about my job or physical threat. There were just things that today probably someone that was 30 would just like hit the ceiling with, but it was never, it was like today it would be all over the internet.
But on your time, it was okay.
On my time, it was just normal. And then you learn to maneuver around that. Now I come from a corporate background. I don't come from a place where my job was ever in threat. There were a few instances that were witnessed that I was pulled aside. Like, do you want to press a complaint? It was from an older gentleman that was a year away from retirement. And it was like, he's going to retire. It was just,
Let it be.
leave him alone, have him leave me alone, and we'll be fine. Right. It was that's the kind of stuff. But surprisingly, as I've gotten older, there's been certain other things that have popped up that I was like, I'm too old for this. You're just like, kind of like, really? But it's, these are the things that I went through are just so minor compared to what certain people have gone through. And
Yes.
in the, especially in the type of industry that I was in, it was just kind of common, and so sometimes when I hear the stories from younger generations, it's like, tell them, just walk away or, just, but they're all on the internet. So I'm like, and, you're kind of like, well, good for you. And I support all those women. It shouldn't happen. But one thing that I've experienced that's been very different is this whole bro culture. And I've been in companies with that, and it is beyond oppressing.
Same.
It's really oppressing, and it's a different type of oppression than when I was coming up in the business world. When I was coming up, it was more physical, right? But the bro culture is a whole different animal, and that's there's been plenty of written about women that have worked in that culture. So I'm hoping very much that the younger generations will be able to fix that.
I think so too. I think the younger generations are a little bit more, how would I say? They are not silent, so they talk.
No,
compared to.
We interviewed a woman, and she was terrific. She's an attorney up in Canada, and she said, women need to be loud, and they need to be heard, and you need to say something. And that is very different than the message I got when I was just a budding professional in my early 20s. So I'm with you 100%. Be loud, be seen, be heard. Don't be ignored.
Yes.
That's very what was that movie with Glenn Close?
Oh yes.
Yeah, but there's a generational difference. And what is really fascinating to me when I delve into the home ownership aspect of our business is, among every culture and women of all ages, everyone, when it comes to home ownership, we're all improving. It's like a rising tide lifts all ships. And that for, very different than this whole bro culture and get out of my way and you need to retire and all that stuff. Women really do have their mothers and their grandmothers to thank for the opportunities that they're allowed to pursue now. So, and the confidence level of younger women, they can be patient and impart that on older women that help them. That would be just terrific.
Yes. So now for your podcast, and I know that it's something that you do to help them learn and understand certain things when it's come to being a homeowner or selling the house, so or even own a home. So where can they go to listen to it?
Oh, sure. Go to our website, SingleLadyEstates.com, and then we have, just go to the top bar and you'll see podcasts. You can get our podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. We're distributed everywhere on every service. And then we have a YouTube channel. So go to the YouTube channel to subscribe.
Absolutely. Subscribe. Get some tips. Because if you're buying a home, I think that what you are doing, women should join. Even if they're buying it with the husband, it's good to, yes. You never know what's going to happen. It's good to actually be a part of something that can teach you the things to expect. God knows anything can happen. Today you might have a husband, tomorrow you don't, and you're on your own. So you have to know how to deal with it at the end of the day.
Well, not only that, is that a lot of women that pinged me early on regarding the name of the company, they're like, but I do all the work when it comes to the home. So in our initial podcast, I say, well, if you're single or when it comes to home ownership issues, you feel like you are, then come join us. And
Yes.
again, it's a safe place, which is really important, especially in online communities. And we're
Yeah, I
going to
think
keep
so
it
too.
safe. Yeah.
And also, I think even if you have a husband, even if you make decision with your husband, um, the way I see it, a lot of time men do things, it's not because they don't respect who they're doing, it's because of the way they were raised.
Mm-hmm.
Automatically is the reaction toward it. So when you are around other women that can tell you, hey, maybe perhaps say this to him to make him understand how you feel. I think that can be a lot helpful. Even if you're married, you make decision with your husband, just getting that someone else kind of guiding you on certain things. And I think that
And we've
it's
gotten
a
feedback.
plus. Yes.
And we've gotten feedback from men that actually they were expecting, us to diss them and, to be negative against men. This is not negative against men
No.
whatsoever. This is just to help women. And, we're in this space because of society. It's both sides. So the men that have actually seen our panel on the 28th or have listened to a few podcasts, they're really complimentary and they're surprised because they thought, oh, I thought this was just going to be man bashing. It's like, no, not at all.
It's not. It's not. I don't take even me as an advocate for women. It's not because I don't. I think men. There's something wrong with men. I have a son that's going to be a
Yeah.
man tomorrow. It's the fact that as women we left out sometimes. We don't
Yeah.
have a voice. We get treated badly. There's some great men out there that's put women up into the sky and then treat them properly. But there's also some bad men out there. And then women, we need that support. We need that guidance. And I think that's the reason why us as women, we step front to say, hey, we can guide you. We can help you. But that doesn't mean we gonna badmouth men. You still a part of our lives every single day. We live with you, but we just want an equal part to be able to be heard
Mm-hmm.
and to listen. Like, listen to us. Let us talk. We are humans. We have a voice. That's pretty much it.
And the other thing too is that a project that I was involved in a long time ago about regarding reporters and how they covered women. The female reporters were just as bad as the male reporters because it wasn't an either or. It's a society issue. The society is taught one thing, and slowly and surely we're working our way out of that, and society is changing for the better.
Yes. Yes. I think it's gonna take a while, but I think we are on our way.
We just got to keep going.
Absolutely. So now, what advice would you give to women who are considering home ownership but may feel a little bit overwhelmed or unsure where to start?
You have to do your research, and one of the things is that you have to get. And we've had a lot of real estate agents on our podcast. Get a real estate agent that you like and who likes you, because you're going to be spending time with them. But this is my personal advice. What they tell you, please research it. There's so much information now that wasn't available, before the internet, good and bad, but, research location, talk. If you have a neighborhood that you have in mind, go and drive through that neighborhood at different times of the day, see what's going on. Even at night, is this safe? And I guess the biggest piece of advice is have confidence in yourself. That's one big takeaway from this entire experience, from my own personal experience talking to everyone about single A estates, is that women are really great with confidence inside the home, right? Where, 95% of the women in this country make the home decisions, whether you're single or married. But we tend to lack confidence when it comes to anything outside the home. Don't. You're smart. If you're buying a home, you're smart, you're educated, you've got a job. Take a look at those successes and just, build on them with a home, and don't doubt yourself. So I always call it being unapologetically confident. Ask questions. And if you don't like the answer, ask it again. Because if you really listen to people, very few times do they actually directly answer your question.
Yes, that's true. That is true. So now how can someone connect with you?
Connect with us at SingleLadyEstates.com. And then we have a contact form. The contact form actually comes to my personal email address. At one point that probably will change, but right now
Yes.
I'm hungry for any type of feedback. I'm hungry for stories, what people would like. We've got our first suite of products coming out based on, based on feedback, based on, our business model. We've got partnerships in the works. So, but our members, our audience is women homeowners. So, how can we help you? So contact us through our website, SingleLadyEstates.com. Please follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, Single Lady Estates. Yeah, I know it's like that's a generational thing, I think.
Yeah, I think if you're buying a home, well, you might want to talk to her first before you buy that home. Get help. Don't do it alone. You don't have to.
Exactly. You have a whole community that's behind you. One really quickly, there was one podcast that was done a few years ago, and it was done by a mortgage company, and they had a woman on there, and she was feeling bad when she went to open houses because she was by herself and she was buying a home by
Aww.
herself. And it's like, are you kidding me? You're a woman, you're buying your own home, and most women now are doing it with their own money.
Yes.
They're not getting help. They're not getting help from spousal ex-spouses. They're not getting help from their parents. They have their own money. So, don't feel bad about walking into an open house by yourself. For God's sake, you can do whatever you want with the house. It's your house. Right?
Yes.
So anyway.
So now, what message would you like to share with our listeners, especially women who may be interested in pursuing the dream of starting their own business as an entrepreneur?
My thing is just do it. Just do it. Like this kind of landed, well, didn't land, it landed in my lap through a horrible, horrible experience. But I had amassed enough business experience where it's like, I'm going to do something about this. There are examples of women that at all ages, all education levels, that see a problem that can solve it. Even the Spanx woman, I forget her name, but I mean, you'll get a lot of no's and you probably get a little discouraged. Keep going and have confidence in yourself.
Just keep moving forward.
Moving forward.
Don't let the noises stop you.
Yeah, and it's not a straight road. There'll be twists and turns along the way, and then you just have to be flexible and go with it. It's like if you hit a dead end, okay, turn left and again, move forward.
That's how we learn anyway.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Well, thank you so much, Bobbie, for giving me the chance to talk to you and for learning more about the company, what you are doing. I think that it's unique, it's different, and it's something that we need because sometimes we just like to be quiet and say, well, it is what it is. You know what? It is not what it is. Exactly. So we need to do something about it. And that's exactly what you are giving women. It's not, it is what it is. You can do something about it, and you have a community of other women that can support and guide you. So it's fabulous.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.